What's up, hockey fans and hockey fanatics out there? Welcome to the Hockey Lounge episode 20. We are rocking the lounge live tonight, August 4th, 2021, 9 p.m. Have a few guests and my wingman in the lounge tonight. Bringing back Tips Santy. He is in the house. Is that a Seattle Mariner hat or Kraken? We got Furlon's back again with his Michigan hat, and we got App. Just looking for his Devils hat maybe right now. He's talking to Fitzy to see what type of moves are happening tonight in Devils land. Boys, welcome to the lounge tonight.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
Fantastic. So we're going to be talking about Evander Kane, Jack Eichel, Marc-Andre Fleury, some news and notes in the National Hockey League, some of the rumors flying out there. So boys, to open the lounge tonight, we're going to be discussing Evander Kane. And just to give you a quick update, just going to go over the timeline here on what the current events are happening with Evander Kane right now. So on Saturday, July 31st, his soon-to-be ex-wife posted on Instagram, accused him of betting on his hockey games, the San Jose Sharks games, as well as some other National Hockey League games. It went on to go forward, and Kane did come out and say that he denied everything. It's false. There is a lot of rumors out there. Even today, TMZ had, I guess, Kane's ex-wife saying this stuff because he's, I guess, sleeping around with a previous girlfriend in the past. So that has come out recently today. Santy's laughing. So boys, what are your thoughts on? And we'll start off with App. App, what are your thoughts on the Evander Kane saga that's happening right now?
I can't remember a wife of a hockey player or anything like this coming out like this in public. To me, it's just crazy. It's a soap opera. My gut feeling is for her to go to the media with it. It probably did happen. Like, I'll wait to see if he's innocent or not. But I mean, if he did bet on hockey, that's just like a serious stain on the game.
Yeah,
it's like a circus.
For sure. Santy, what are your thoughts there?
Well, there should be concerns with Evander Kane dating back to when he had to file bankruptcy. So that's a fundamental thing, right? That's a really important thing that the hockey world didn't do much about. So I'm going to get on my soapbox, right? So in every profession, there's a standard of conduct. My profession, I need a license. If I claim bankruptcy in my profession, I'm under review and I can lose my license. Mm-hmm. So allowing guys to claim bankruptcy and having no code of conduct just because he can put the puck in the net, it tells you the inherent issue. The NFL is hardcore about this stuff. There's a code of conduct and it's a privilege to play in our league. If you're going to act like an asshole, you can't play in this league. A guy making $9 million or $6 million a year and claiming bankruptcy, needs help. It's a privilege to play professional sports. It's not a right because you can put the fucking puck in the net. It's not funny, man. It's not. This is real life. If this were any other walk of life, the guy would be out of a fucking job. End of story, full stop. Let's not even take it a step further. But because he can put the puck in the net, these idiots go around and trade for him and all this other kind of stuff. It's wrong, man. Right. It's 100% one of the reasons that there's such a fundamental issue with hockey culture, because shit like this happens. The NFL would have kicked this guy out of the league in 30 seconds flat and said, "See ya, pal," and it never would have been an issue. So he's compromised already with money issues, even from when he posted that stuff on Instagram with the money.
Yes, we'll get into that. Yeah.
Then he goes bankrupt, and now he's being accused of betting on games. It's it's all related, man. There's an issue, and shame on the NHL for not dealing with it.
Yeah, got it. Agreed. We'll get into some of his antics there, though. Dating back to when he was with Buffalo or whatnot, when all this stuff started coming out. So, Furlon, your take on this?
I think you have to keep in mind that this is more multifaceted than it seems, because we're in such obviously a digital age right now. from the time his estranged wife, soon-to-be ex-wife, got her hands on her phone and hit enter, the world knew. Okay, effectively, the world knew. Let's rewind the clock, okay? Let's go back to someone like Jaromir Jagr. And I know Paul alluded to the NHL, not doing anything about it. Jaromir Jagr, I remember, he was in New Jersey when I was with the organization. Somebody said he's still playing because he has to, okay? $1 million tabs here and there, owes 500 G's here, 500 G's there. He would jet off to Atlantic City after games to gamble. But this was before, someone snapped a picture of him and put it up. This is before, the consumption of information was at your fingertips, right? You look at another guy, Theo Fleury. He blew $1 million in a weekend, okay? But no one really knew about that on the whole until he wrote his book, okay? I'm sure his teammates did. I'm sure the management did. Paul does make a good point. They kind of not sweep it under the rug, but the code of conduct thing isn't what the NFL is. Granted, the NFL gives those guys the privilege of making, what does a top quarterback make a year? 20 million, somewhere around there. So when you're making that kind of money, I think you're held to a higher standard. Like Paul said, playing professionally is a privilege, but I think you have to keep in mind where we're at in time, right? There are other guys that have gone bankrupt. Derek Sanderson. Let's not forget him. I know he was before my time.
Patrick Mahomes makes $45 million a year, Berlon.
Okay, there you go. Sorry.
Yeah,
right?
No problem. Yeah, I'm just updating you on the millions being made.
Yeah,
right?
I was short by 20. Sorry, Pat.
Yeah.
But like I said, you have to keep in context where we are in time, right? Had anyone known what was going on with a guy like Derek Sanderson, who got caught in the rain, was by a Cadillac dealership and said, I'm not walking in the rain, I'm going to buy a Cadillac? What's the difference between him and Evander Kane blowing money? Nothing. But he's just under the microscope.
Right.
Yeah. Obviously, the allegations that he's betting on his games is serious. Look what happened to Pete Rose, right?
Yeah.
That's a prime example. And I think hockey, or the NHL at least, has tried to maintain that squeaky clean image of our guys don't do this. This doesn't happen in this sport. But unfortunately, Evander Kane might be made a precedent of.
And I just want to put my 2 cents here with this whole thing, though, is that the NHL, when it comes to any type of allegations or whatnot, when it comes to their players, teams, whatever, part of their franchise, if it comes down to coaching staff, trainers, whoever it is, they seem to sweep everything under the rug. If you guys notice that, like, if this was the NFL, if this was the NBA, MLB, this would be all over the sports stations. This would be a main topic. You even go back to, and I don't want to open up a can of worms here with you guys tonight, but the Chicago Blackhawks allegations that are going on here. If this was any other sport, this would be headline news. Okay, and right now, this is
Chicago. It's 11 years later.
Right, but to boot, right? And I don't want to open up that kind of worms, but I'm just saying, when it comes to the NHL, they are very, like you said, Berlon, they're protective of their league. They want to be that shiny car that never gets dirty. And I think that's a big problem right now in the NHL. That being said, you also look at Evander Kane, and Paul, you touched on this. If you go back to his Winnipeg days, his Buffalo days, showing all that cash in Vegas, if you remember that, his rings and whatnot. And you go back to when he was in Winnipeg, boys, when he was in Winnipeg, when he got traded to San Jose, there was something that happened. And I'm just going to go around the horn and see if you guys know what happened when he got traded in the dressing room to Evander Kane. And I'll bring you guys up to speed here. I'm not sure if you guys know. Anybody know? Santi, do you know?
I can't remember, but I remember hearing something where I think, was there a confrontation with the teammate?
Yeah, there was. Yes. Yeah.
I remember now.
I remember when he was in. It was, I think, between Atlanta and Winnipeg when they made that change, or it might have been his time in Atlanta.
Yeah.
He was bragging about a suit, and I think it was Dustin Byfuglien who either turned it into shorts or just threw them in the shower.
Right. So supposedly you got the shower thing right. Supposedly when he got traded, Big Buff threw his whole equipment into the shower. Right. again, there are rumors circulating today in regards to Evander Kane. The Sharks are shopping him. There are teams interested. From the Athletic today. There was an article saying some teammates do not want him back on the team. So,
but guys, like whoever trades for him should be fired. End of story. Full stop.
He's not. Listen, you know who wants him? CSKA St. Petersburg. Okay, he's going to be like an attraction in Russia. This guy wants to spend money. Come.
I don't want to belabor the point, and I don't want to get too philosophical. But claiming bankruptcy is like a little bit of a moral hazard to have somebody like that in your league that has openly stiffed other people.
But Paul, there's a number of guys though that have filed bankruptcy in the National Hockey League.
There are. I'm not denying that. Some guys even got ripped off, right?
Yeah.
That's a completely different thing.
For sure.
But by no like, not I would say fault of their own, because guys can blow it doing like bad investments, XYZ.
Correct.
But when a guy does it to himself in this fashion.
Michael Jordan gambled aggressively, but you don't hear of him necessarily stiffing bills. I think it's one thing to gamble aggressively like Yager and play till you're 45 because you have to. What you do with your own money is okay. But the minute you get into bankruptcy, I don't think it's a good look for the league, man. And the league really has to jump in and help those people.
Well, it's the same thing with the whole concussion thing. Like, where's the league with these guys like Derek Bugard, Wade Belak, Rick Rippon? The call for like, hey, help us. Yeah. And I know that's a whole different ball of wax, but there's got to be an onus on the NHL to take care of their players.
I agree with Paul. It's like they wait. They don't say anything. They just wait for it to disappear and let's not talk about it. And he's 100% right. Like, the guy had all this money, obviously in Vegas. He's posing with all this money. He's got the bling and everything on. Then all of a sudden he files bankruptcy. Like, does none of the hierarchy of the NHL go and say, I think this guy has a problem here. We might need to go get him some help, or let's do something to help our player. But nope, we're just going to wait for it to die down and be quiet.
Right.
But stuff like that, and that's it's tough because it's not like a substance abuse problem. I know, the substance abuse thing in the NHL, guys will say, hey, you're drinking too much. Hey, you're doing a little, you're a little extracurriculars, right? And the NHL will give them help. But I think gambling is one of those things where I'm not sure if it's seen as like a chemical addiction, but obviously there's something going on in someone's brain that says, I need to do this. I can't get over it. And I think it needs to be addressed because I'm sure Evander Kane is not the only guy gambling big money. Okay.
100%. But what I'm saying is, if at least the league would have tried to get him into Gamblers Anonymous or something, make it look like you're trying to do something. Because right now it looks like they ain't doing shit.
Yeah, you've got to have a mechanism though. Like, once it gets to the point of bankruptcy, you've got to, like, guys, there's an issue with that, man. Like think about the people in the community that he's playing in, and he's potentially stiffed the community of money. Like, you can't have that as the league, man.
For sure.
That's the issue. And that's why I think, like, the easy thing is to make bankruptcy the line in the sand. To say, like, listen, if you go bankrupt, there's repercussions to going bankrupt, provided you didn't get ripped off like Alan Eagleson ripped off all those guys, and other agents have ripped off other guys. That's a completely different thing, like, being had. You know what I mean?
Let's get into this then, guys. So, Paul, you giggled there big time when I said there's NHL teams that are looking at getting into so before you comment, guys, on this, to getting into the Evander Kane sweepstakes. So from the Athletic, like I said, some teammates do not want him back. And some of the speculation out there right now in the hockey world and coming from some of the San Jose Sharks teammates is the lack of respect he has for his teammates and the game. Like you said, Paul, the city, he shows up late for practice. He shows up late for games. Why would you want somebody in the room like that to be part of? And why would you, as a GM, go out and get somebody like that? But the bottom line is, I'm going to say this, bottom line is that sometimes, and this is a problem in the National Hockey League, this is a problem in minor hockey, this is a problem in the OHL, this is a problem in all the leagues, is that sometimes skill takes over from character if you're in the wrong franchise. And those dirty Vegas Knights love guys just like that. So we'll get into the Fleury thing now. But what are your thoughts on, again, the disrespect of the game? And, Tipu just said this before. I'll bring up his comment. I threw it out there before. He said he's a distraction and a cancer in the room. Bang on with that. If teammates don't want him back, guys, what's the story on that?
You get a GM that is going to say, look, we're going to give you $1 million. Okay. Here's some performance bonuses. It's on you to earn your money. Okay. Put a clause in the contract. If anything, not to this extent happens, but if it gets to the point where guys don't want you around and whatever, you're out. Contract's void. Done. You make your bed, you sleep in it. Right? The guy's 20, what? Or you just turned 30. Okay. You're 30 years old. No one's going to hold your hand anymore. You have a kid, another one on the way, apparently. Okay. Time to grow up. So someone might give him a chance. And if that's the case, I think it's going to be stipulation ridden. It has to be. And if not, rinse your hands of him. Nice try. And on the plus side, you get some production out of him. He becomes rehabilitated in a sense, better teammate, better guy, whatever, and gets his life back on track, and everybody's a winner.
I think honestly, guys, once these internal investigations happen, I don't think he should be able to step on the ice with an NHL team. My opinion. Thoughts on that?
I would have dusted him after he went bankrupt.
Right.
That's my stance.
I don't think he will. I think he's going to be suspended pending the investigations of training camp start. And I think they have to do something. I think the pressure, they're probably going to ban him from the league. And as Berlon said off the top, they're going to have to make an example of him. He's probably going to be the example. I don't see him playing another NHL game. Either that, or let's just send him to Vegas and get it over with.
Like, you can, guys, people like the people in the sport should be helping him, and you can help him, but it doesn't mean that he has to have an NHL job. Like, that's another thing, man. Like, help him. Get the league to help him. Get the Players Association to help him.
Well, like people said, Santi, maybe trade him to Vegas. He can work in one of the casinos. Then they can live perfect, bud. Right?
Get it out of his system.
This machine fucking doesn't work.
Yeah.
Right?
But, like, think about it. I don't know, man. Like, for me, like, I've gone through these exercises in minor hockey where you hear about stories about kids that are super talented and potential issues and things as such. And you walk away from them, or at least we walked away from them. Now, they aren't $9 million decisions, right? But as an organization, like, those are more important sometimes than the results that you get on the ice, because by making those decisions, you're investing in the culture of your organization that are going to eventually lead to the results.
Right.
So you're saying San Jose steps to the plate after the investigation, gives them a chance to right the ship, so that the culture in San Jose, or they save face. Is that what you're saying?
No, I'm saying he shouldn't be allowed to play. The NHL should ban him from playing, and the NHL should get him help, and that's how the NHL helps him.
Okay,
but not correlated.
I think you're speaking of both sides of your mouth. You're saying he should not be able to play. That looks like, okay, we are taking his job away, which someone's going to make a case that that's not fair. Okay. But then you're saying we have to get him help. It's like we're gonna negate what we're doing one way by doing something else.
I'm saying if I was general manager, I would never have interest in the guy back from when he went bankrupt. I never would have even traded for him, or I would have seen those issues, because it wasn't the first time that there were issues. It was like the second or third time. So I would steer completely clear away from him. Then on the other side, I'm saying you need to help the guy. Okay, so the guy needs help, obviously.
Yeah.
But the two are not mutually inclusive. He doesn't need to play hockey in order to get help. He can get help without playing hockey.
Okay, so
who needs to help him, San Jose or the league?
I would say the league.
I would say the league too. So let's say the glove doesn't fit. Okay. And the allegations are not true, and he's cleared of those allegations. Where does Evander Kane go from there?
Well, it sounds like he's definitely not going back to San Jose, because if there's already something in the room, they don't want him there. I don't think he can play for them regardless.
But my question is, like Paul brought up there, there is an issue no matter what.
Yeah.
Even if those allegations are false.
I think, like I said before, I think the NHL has to step in and offer him some help.
Right.
No matter what, it's obvious he needs help. Whether he was gambling on NHL games or if he was just gambling on NBA games or NFL or whatever the hell, he's obviously got a gambling problem.
Right.
Somebody's got to step in and help this guy, because he's going to end up going to Casino Niagara and jumping over the falls at some point.
So, but you go back to the point, Berlon, again, me being a big Pens fan, I know about Jagger and his gambling. He was gambling ever since he came into the league, right? On football. He's a big time football gambler. And yes, he only came back to the NHL 2 or 3 times because he was broke, right? So this stems like from the 90s. So the league still hasn't addressed this issue. Guys are betting, guys are losing money, guys are dry of money. They're coming back because they need money. The NHL should look into this and say, hey, like, we got some guys that have some issues here. We need to clean this league up. We can't be putting up the Berlin Wall saying our league is perfect, because this is what's happening with the NHL.
But they haven't had to, because nothing of this magnitude has been thrust into that, like I said before, that digital spotlight,
right?
Like this has.
Social media.
But it shouldn't even have gotten to this point. It was so obvious that something like this could happen, especially with the guy involved. That's my point in all this.
Yes, but the variable in this is his ex-spouse, his spouse, his wife, whatever you want to call it.
Right. Fair enough. My opinion,
that he can't control.
My opinion as to whether or not he gambled on hockey, it has nothing to do with my opinion of Evander Kane. It was formulated already.
Yes.
This is just the league. What's the word I'm looking for? The league. What's the word? Enabling it to get to this point. Okay.
Right.
So my opinion on Evander Kane was made up when he went bankrupt, and he's caused all the shit shows at every other place he stopped at. Okay.
Right.
So whether you gamble or not doesn't matter. Honestly, to me, it doesn't matter. The league let it get to this point, and they should be ashamed that it got to this point.
You're right. Teeps has a question here. Is the NHL responsibility to help him? He's a grown man. So, again, it's just like Paul said. You know, if you're a part of any company, union, whatever it is, if there is a problem, majority of the time the company's gonna help you out.
100%.
So
yes,
it's a cross section of life, man. But for some whatever reason, we don't think that the rules of life apply to sport.
The rules of hockey.
Because the guy can throw the ball 80 yards down the field, right. or because the guy can put 50 pucks in the net, man.
You just printed 50 sheets in like 2 minutes.
It's devastating.
You know what I mean?
Guys, in the real world, this would be devastating, man. Yeah. Like things that happened in the NFL, like Adrian Hernandez, man. If that happened, if that was an employee of an organization, that would be devastating to that organization. But for whatever reason, in sports, like everybody loses the whole concept of like professional organization. They're all professional organizations. Okay. That's it. Sorry, I'm passionate about it, man. Because
I know you are, because again, this is a really passionate topic, and it's funny because talking to a different number of people. I just got back from the rink now, and automatically people think that Evander Kane is guilty of this, right? Just log on again, Berlon. I got you on twice.
For some reason
you got off.
I got cut off.
Okay, so let me see. Oh, hold on. Here we go. All right. So before we end this, one thing, and again, Tipu, just to let you know, if you want to be answered 3 or 4 more times on the Hockey Lounge, the membership, the platinum membership to come on the lounge for 2 or more questions is $50. So Teeps, you're getting close to that $50 limit here. Even Frank Bonanno has been the Okane's been on the lounge. He's typing like crazy here too tonight. Love the questions, but I'm going to leave this question here for the last, or what you guys think, because this is a good point by Tipu here. Where is the NHLPA on this?
Like I said before, I know when I was playing and we did the preseason stuff with regards to like needing help with anything, a lot of it was geared towards like your teammates saying something. Mm-hmm. Okay. And like I alluded to before, drugs, alcohol, it's visible. You see it. Performance is affected. And it's easy for someone to say, hey, so-and-so might need help. They can do it anonymously. But when you get into somebody's business, especially their financials, gambling, I think it becomes a little more touchy, because then people say, well, it's no business of yours what I do with my money, right? Whereas, so I got an echo here. Are you guys good with the echo?
Yeah,
There's
we
nothing?
can hear you.
Okay, it's killing me. Whereas you see somebody struggling with their health, it's easy to jump in, you know? And even gambling, a lot is behind closed doors unless they're making it completely overt to everyone, which, as we know, Evander Kane did, right? But again, how do you jump in and say to someone who's making $7 or $8 million a year, slow down?
Right.
Right? And I think it's tough for a teammate to say that. On top of it, he's not well liked. So those guys are probably like, you know what? Let him dig his own grave.
Probably.
And at that point, the NHLPA can't come in because
right,
they wouldn't really know unless somebody said something, which obviously no one cared enough to say.
And I also think there's an issue. Like, I also think there's for me, just the easy, clear line in the sand, because it's a very subjective thing. You can't tell guys to do it with their money, right? But if while you're playing, you go bankrupt for like complete mismanagement, I think that's the line in the sand that you need to draw as the league. I probably came off like hot out of the stable here, but like, you know, my industry, you go bankrupt, your license under review. End of story, full stop. I got to go sit in front of a tribunal and they decide whether or not I keep my license. That's my livelihood.
Yeah.
You know?
Like
So
sorry, Paul, you done?
Yeah.
Like the thing with him with the pictures and all the past, like everybody's assuming that he's guilty because there's a pattern there, as I am as well. If somebody would have came up and said John Tavares is gambling, John Tavares is this, you know, it'd be looked at differently than Evander Kane, especially because the league hasn't done anything, because it's obvious to everybody that something's going on here. And that's why I always harken back to the league. Again, if Tavares comes out and said, guys, I got to file bankruptcy, well, you know what happened? Or somebody comes out and says John Tavares gambled on hockey. There'd be an investigation, but I don't think the Court of Appeals in the public eye would be 100% he's guilty. I think the fact that we've seen all these series of events and nothing's done, I think that's why it looks really bad.
Mm-hmm. For sure. So we'll definitely see the next couple of days where this goes with Evander Kane. Definitely an interesting topic, to say the least. And like I said, I think there's going to be more. There was more stuff from TMZ today, so check that out if you haven't seen it. It's a pretty good article, as well as some video to that. And I guess both his wives are pretty hot, let's say. Jack Eichel, the Eichel of my eye here. So last week, Eichel's agent came out and said the process is not working to get him traded. He doesn't want to be with the Buffalo Sabres. Interesting note here, Eichel is skating in Boston at the Bruins practice facility. That was leaked out today. So he's practicing in the Boston Bruins practice facility with the logos. He is a Beantown boy. So Sabres demands from Kevin Adams for Jack Eichel. If you guys are not updated, and for the viewers, this is what Mr. Adams is looking for Mr. Eichel in a trade. He's looking for a top 6 forward or a top 4 defenseman, an NHL player, so it could be a bottom 6 or bottom 2 defenseman, a prospect, and a first-round draft pick. That is what Mr. Adams is looking for. So he's basically looking for 4 players in return for Jack Eichel. Going to go with App first here. Your thoughts on Eichel skating in Boston and the demands of the GM, Kevin Adams, in the Buffalo Sabres organization.
Him skating Boston to me doesn't mean anything. He's just on a sheet of ice. It's where he's from. Just that. Honestly, I don't read anything into that at all. What Kevin Adams is demanding, like, if you don't get his medical history, like everybody's saying that he needs this surgery. How do you gamble? Going back to gambling again, but how do you gamble on this guy when you don't know that if he takes one hit, he's done? You don't know. Like, he's skating, that's great, but can he take a hit? We don't know any of this. If you think that I'm a general manager and I'm going to give up what he wants, especially a top 2-line, either forward or defenseman, plus a first-round pick, not to mention the other 2 guys, for me, there's no way I touch it. I don't touch it unless there's some sort of guarantee that, he has to. For me, he has to have the surgery first. It's too big of a gamble. They're asking way too much for what possibly can happen here.
Right, for sure. Paul?
I don't know if you want my opinion on this one.
Stay hot.
Stay
hot.
He hasn't done enough production-wise to garner that kind of haul. So here we are back at the production versus potential. God, Buffalo's got it so wrong with so many guys, with so many contracts. So they're partially to blame as well. So Kevin Adams' hands are tied, but Jack Eichel's in no position to demand that haul. And if I was another GM, I would have character issues, and those would supersede any of the talent issues.
So
unless I could have a guy that could grab him by the throat when he walked into the room and said, "This is the way we do things. Welcome to wherever. And if you don't like it, we'll let you rot." But I would not, like, if I was a GM, I would not be interested in this type of player.
Right.
Just based on, I'm just going based on the fan reading stuff on the internet. Okay.
Right. I got that. And I'm gonna get to that in a second here. But Berlon, what are your thoughts here with the demands?
I did a little reading just to bring myself up to speed.
Yeah.
And from what I understand, Buffalo wants them to do the one surgery, which is the fusion, and they think that's a safer procedure and it's going to yield like more of a guarantee, which obviously gets them something more in return. Like you said, first round pick, top 6 or top 4, and whatever else you said. Kevin Adams demands.
Yeah.
His personal medical team wants him to do like a complete replacement, which is faster. He gets back earlier, and they think it's better. But there's no guarantee because it's a new procedure. I think it's only been around since 2000, and Buffalo's worried that that's going to diminish his movement quality, and his value. So I know Paul's big into the character thing, but I think this is becoming like they're trying to dictate his future with who performs the surgery and who they listen to. And I think it's a little bit unfair to the guy that based on which procedure he picks, determining his value.
So my question to you guys,
Buffalo, hold on, but Nick, Buffalo also hasn't done anything to Buffalo hasn't helped him either.
Yeah, I'm gonna get to that, Paul. So my thing though, let's talk about Eichel and the surgery, right? So if you look into it, you dive into it like Berlon did, you start reading about stuff. The Buffalo Sabres have not been playing since when was that? April? May? What the hell? Why is this being so prolonged here where this surgery should have been done already? Because now, if you really want to trade Eichel, the surgery would have been done already. And then you can see how he reacts from the surgery. Then he becomes more of an asset. Getting back to Buffalo, Buffalo is a shit show from the top down, okay? And I still think it's a shit show with Kevin Adams being the GM, Granato coming in as coach. I think it's still – I like to call it the walkover city, because if you're a superstar in Buffalo with the Sabres, you can get GMs fired, you can get coaches fired. They're not getting guys with the pedigree to say to Eichel, hey, listen, bud, you need to show up. You need to produce, right? And if you produce and we start getting guys that can help you, shut up and play your game. But let's get back to Eichel here. So why do you guys think the surgery has not taken place yet?
Because you can't drag a guy onto a table, anesthetize him, and do a surgery. He has to agree to it, right? So what he thinks is best for himself and what Buffalo thinks is best for him, and in a roundabout way, themselves, are two different things. So until he's comfortable doing something, there's no surgery, and the timeline just stretches. So I think that's why it's been, because he didn't play the last 30 or 33 games of the year, right? Like you said, they could have done it then, but there's more to it than that. Buffalo wants to like guarantee his value with the surgery they think is best. He doesn't want it, so you're at a standstill. And like I said, you can't drag a guy onto an operating table.
Yeah, you cut him open.
It's really delicate.
Yeah, cut open his neck.
Buffalo are the one paying the tab, and they have one opinion. And like Kawhi Leonard went through this type of stuff in San Antonio, right? So it's delicate, man. It's like really, it's really delicate when you're looking at it just from a like contractual perspective, from like the business side, right?
If you're the Sabres and you want to get something back for him, why wouldn't even if he wants to have the type of surgery that he wants, why don't you just let him go do it? If your end game is that you're going to trade him, have him go do it. Then shut your mouth. Let him go do the surgery. Okay, guys, he's fixed now. What are you going to give him? The 4 assets that Nick was talking about earlier, and wash your hands from him. End it, because he's not going to play for the Sabres. I don't think he can go back to Buffalo anymore. They got to do something.
Well, because like Nick said, it's the walkover city. So if they give in to him doing his own surgery, well, then it becomes for everybody else. He almost sets a precedence. You know, second opinions, doing their own things. All of a sudden, team doctors are nullified. Not nullified completely, but everyone's going to get a second opinion, and all these team doctors are going to be like, I got to find a new job. Because no one's going to listen to me if they don't have to.
The asking price is about the 5th domino in this thing, because there's like 4 other ones that are way more important. Right?
So,
and Buffalo is not like, God, they have got it so wrong with so many players, man.
Listen, they just traded Reinhardt. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you know, they're just giving away like candy and guys that are
How much are they paying Peter Skinner?
Well, I think it's like $9 million a year.
Yeah.
So I'm going to put out this trade to you guys today. This was a rumor that was circulating the NHL world today in regards to Jack Eichel. We all know that, and this is going to lead into a segue to one of my favorite guys in the game, Marc-Andre Fleury, class act. But this is going to be a segue into like where this is going and why Fleury was traded. We all know that the Vegas Knights are looking for that top-notch center, right? Everybody's talking about that. So the deal that was circulating today in the National Hockey League was Vegas and Buffalo. And the trade was Riley Smith, Nicholas Hague, a prospect, Peyton Krebs, he played in the playoffs, 1st-round draft pick, as well as Vegas wants Buffalo to retain some of Eichel's salary. And that was the point where negotiations stopped in the last 24 hours, is the retainment of Eichel's salary. If you were Vegas or if you were Buffalo, let's start with Vegas, would you do that deal, Paul?
No.
Okay.
Do you want me to elaborate?
We'll get to that in a sec. I just want to
absolutely not. Okay. Because from a character perspective, and I play with Riley Smith, he's worth his weight in salt, gold, whatever you want to call it. I think straight up, Vegas would be losing on that one, just on him alone. Never mind the 1st-round pick. Never mind Hague, Krebs. Forget it. That's a loss for Vegas, unless they're trying to unload salary for that high-end center. I don't see why they would do it.
Apple, would you make that trade? No,
I don't touch it.
No. So you wanted to elaborate, Santi, on that trade?
Well, I just don't think he's worth that haul. But then you've got these like injury issues on top of it. Like,
right?
He's really swinging for the fences, man. And that's why guys like Kane come into the conversation, because he thinks he's like one step close, like he's one guy away from getting over the top, right?
Right. And I think you're, you know, when you look at this trade and you talk about, I guess, some NHL teams worried about the Eichel injury per se, that's why Vegas wants Buffalo to retain some of his salary. I think there's, you know, again, if things go wrong with Eichel, they make that trade, whatnot, you know, they might be on the books for a lot of money here if Eichel has to sit out half a season, whatnot, right? So that could come into play. Now, we all talked about Vegas, and they are after a number one center. And, last week, the Vegas Knights shocked the hockey world. Apple and I talked about it on Free Agent Frenzy Day, with Marc-Andre Fleury getting traded to the Chicago Blackhawks. Okay. This just came out of left field. He wasn't told by the general manager or the owner. He was promised back in October when a deal was done with the Pittsburgh Penguins that, he was going to Pittsburgh, and then Bill Foley, the owner, jumped into it and said, "No, Mark, you are the face of the franchise. You are the guy that sold us our first tickets. You are the face. We're never letting you go. You're going to retire a Vegas Knight." That being said, he has a 10-team trade clause that he can go to. He gets traded. He finds out via social media, and everybody's waiting to find out what Marc-Andre is going to do. On Sunday, what happens? As the character class act that he is, his kids were crying for 2 hours finding out about the trade because they want to stay in Vegas, whatnot. He decides, he puts out on Instagram before he gets on the jet, he says, "Okay, I'm in Chicago. Let's get to work." Flies to Chicago, puts the jersey on, 29 on the Blackhawk jersey. Guys, what are your thoughts on this whole situation here? Start off with Apple. What are your thoughts?
I still think the Vegas Knights are a bunch of assholes for doing this. We said about it on that show, on the free agent show, that he has a class act, and that's why he's doing this. The guy's a professional. Right. He's a consummate professional, consummate. But in my opinion, I honestly don't think he's going to finish the year in Chicago. I think the Hawks are going to struggle, even with the additions they made to Seth Jones and stuff. I don't think they're there yet, and I know Taves is coming back too. I think if they're below that line at trade deadline, I think they're moving him. I think they're going to get assets because he's only got 1 year left.
Right.
He's there for this year.
And that's what I wanted to say, guys. So he's got 1 year left at $7 million. Okay. No, bang on up with that. $7 million. What's the end game with Bowman here? Like he does not want to be in Chicago. Okay. And I would think his family probably might stay in Vegas, right? He's not going to uproot his family for 1 year to go to Chicago. He was on a radio station in Pittsburgh 2 weeks ago, the Mark Madden show. Great interview. He was asked where he wanted to finish his career. And what Marc-Andre Fleury said, it was either he wants to stay in Vegas, and he said to Mark Madden, "You know the other place." And I said this last week again, Berlon and Santi, you weren't on the show. But I just wanted to remind everybody out there, he has two places he wants to finish. The Knights, that's not going to happen. The second place will be in Pittsburgh. I would think, from a betting man up, where I see this going with Marc-Andre Fleury is he will be traded mid-season to a contender to get over the hump, and then he will sign with the Pittsburgh Penguins in the offseason. That being said, Berlon, what are your thoughts on this whole situation?
I think it illustrates that there's not any loyalty in hockey. Right. Unfortunately, it's a business. We talked about like a couple of weeks ago the whole salary cap thing and how you're going to have to unfortunately move some guys because you can't afford to keep them.
Right.
And that's the business side of it. Whether or not it was a business-driven move by Vegas, I don't know. But what'd you say? He makes $9 million?
$7 million.
$7 million.
Yeah.
You move one more guy, and there's your high-end center, right? It's tough. You don't know what goes through the mind of GMs from the Chicago's perspective. Maybe they're enticing some guys to come. You got an established guy, a leader like Fleury, established guy, a leader like Taves. They picked up Seth Jones. So you got high-end players in each position, right? Maybe they're going to try and build around those guys. I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't have the crystal ball here.
Yeah, I like, again, Tipu says Kane would take that bet that I just drew right there. Paul, your thoughts on the Fleury stuff?
Well, I think Chicago's trying to take one more kick with Taves and Kane. That's pretty evident in the moves, right? So he's trying to retool on the fly, pick this guy up. I'm the wrong guy, man. I'm a little black and white when it comes to this stuff. Like, these are first world problems, and if Mark Fleury's upset, I get it. But these are like big time first world problems. It happens, it happened in this city. DeMar DeRozan got shipped out. He wasn't happy. It is what it is, man. You got to do what you got to do.
I get it,
finding out on social media,
yeah,
like
that's
not that cool. But even around that, like it could have been the other side that leaked that, and they didn't have the chance to go back and like
for sure,
right. So like,
yeah,
I don't know. You're a pro hockey player. You're making millions of bucks a year.
I get it. It's just like when Apple leaks stuff from the Hockey Lounge, people find out before we get on there. He's leaking stuff all the time, right? He is the insider for the Hockey Lounge. So, but Paul, the one thing I know you want to be black or white on that, right?
Yeah.
The one thing that I would say though is if you go back to last October when Rutherford and George McPhee and McCrimmon had a deal in place for him to go to Pittsburgh, it would have been all said and done. Robin Leonard is Peter DeBoer's man. I believe he's McCrimmon's man. And so the writing was on the wall for Fleury, right? The guy has shown a lot of respect to the city, whatnot. He deserved better than this. He really did, right? And again, I think the Vegas Knights are dirtbags because also, too, what they did to Gerard Gallant after he took the team in 2018 to the Stanley Cup Finals, right? He was pushed out the door for a coach that doesn't even know how to win. He doesn't know how to win. He goes, he looks good, and right, but his decisions suck. He does not know how to win.
He was in Jersey when Berlin played there.
Yeah. Well, he went to. Did he go to the Stanley Cup Finals too?
Yeah.
With your team,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
I guess second place is like he likes a second place trophy, right? But I'm not going to get on the board there. But anyways, my question to you is he a Blackhawk by the playoffs? Apple.
I don't think so.
No.
I don't think so. I think he's going to trade him. And like you said, it is a smart move for Bowman. If this doesn't pan out and they're not near the playoffs, they're 10 points out.
Oh yeah.
At the deadline,
yeah.
he could, and he like you said, he ships him to a contender side. If Colorado, if Kemper doesn't play well, who knows if he ends up in Colorado if they can squeeze him in.
Yeah, it's a win-win for Chicago, man. There's no downside
Unless
he goes there and shits the bed. That's it.
Well, yeah. Or they're having a good season and they're really contending.
But that's not a downside, right?
Yeah. No, I got that.
Right.
But how about the one team that I think that really needs him? And I've been saying this about Kyle Doofus all along, is the Toronto Maple Leafs, right? Because Jackie Campbell's going to take you to the promised land, baby, right? Wayne Simmons, Jason Spezza, they're all back. You want to go watch them? They'll be playing Sports Village A Division in a year and a half. Catch them live. And Joe Thornton is practice again. So Leaf Nation, you got to love it. Berlin, he stays in Chicago, yes or no?
I think Ab and Paul hit the nail on the head. If Chicago's doing well, looks like a great move. They can make a push, and everyone's happy. If they're not, they're 10 points out. He's got a lot of value to him. Chicago can build off that for the next year. Or he goes to a contender.
Right.
It's a great move, I think, now that I'm looking at it.
It's a win-win situation for Bowman and the Hawks.
Not for just those guys, but everybody else.
Yeah.
Right? In case he's not there.
Yeah, exactly. Pure rental. Rent the goalie.
Man. He's
Rent the goalie.
He's going to get a big haul at the deadline, man.
He's getting $200 a night at Sports Village.
Exactly. Rent the goalie, Marc-Andre Fleury. So NHL's news and rumors out there, and I know App's going to have a big smile on his face because Lou Lamoriello, I love, best GM in the league, back to back. He is the man. He brings presence. He knows how to build a team. Stanley Cup winner. The New York Islanders are going to announce 4 contracts in the next 24 hours. They're going to announce they've signed Kyle Palmieri, Casey Zizekas, Zach Parise, and Travis Zajac. This is a hot rumor that just came over the table around 4:30. Thoughts on Big Lou doing work undercover?
He's basically signing his own guys other than Parise.
Yeah.
It's not really like he's making any big moves. And to me, this probably takes them out of Tarasenko. To me, I think Tarasenko is the biggest guy left. So nobody's happier that he's going to announce these 4 contracts than I am, to be honest with you.
Mm-hmm.
Because the rumor right now is, right, sorry to go off topic here a little bit, but the rumor right now is it's the Devils, the Islanders, or those other pieces of garbage that are in the hunt for him. But apparently the Devils are the lead runner, so with the Islanders. So he's signing his own guys plus Parise. So,
but what I like about Lou, it's everything's like he's doing work to get it done. Like,
he doesn't want anybody to know how much cap space he's using up with these guys.
Right, but like a Kyle Palmieri would look good in a lot of different uniforms, especially the one we live in too, right? And they trade for Nick Foligno. I'm going to go back to the Leafs too because they trade for Nick Foligno, but they don't get him back, right? It's just some of the stuff that's happening out in the NHL is these guys are getting traded to different places at the trade deadline. They're not wanting them back because they weren't the right fit, but they're signing other guys. That being said, I think he's taking care of his own business, like you said. Berlon, what are your thoughts on Big Lou doing his work?
Well, let's not forget, Kyle Palmieri was in New Jersey.
Exactly.
Travis Zajac was in New Jersey. Zach Parise was in New Jersey. He knows these guys.
Yeah.
They're going to be buying into his, whatever he implements there.
Yeah. Andy Green.
Andy Green. Okay. He's a smart guy. He knows, especially a guy like Parise that's been around. Zajac's been around for over 12, 13 years, if I'm not mistaken. Those are guys that know his system, and they're going to do it Andy Green to the back end for the forwards.
Yeah.
Okay. I think he's going, Paul's going to like this. He's going the culture route.
But he always does.
He always does. And it's the standard quo on any team he's been on or he's been in charge of, aside from maybe the Leafs, because you know what kind of a casino that is. He's going to do the same thing there. Zach Parise and Travis Zajac are going to lead that squad from a, how to do things perspective. Kyle Palmieri is that buffer between the older guys and the younger guys. And away they go again. Don't be surprised if they're contending.
Yep, agreed. Paul.
It's a thing of beauty because those are the hills he's going to die on.
Yeah.
This is the way. These are the human beings that we allow into our organization.
Right.
Okay. And he is unapologetically authentic, and he doesn't care. You think, guys? Do you think he's wasted 15 seconds on Evander Kane? Do you think that guy's even crossed his mind to pick up the phone and
not even half a second, Paul? Not even half. Who he's saying who?
And he is just going to wait until he can get the right piece to come in, and these are our guys. And then when you get in there and there's 18 guys all towing the line, when you bring in the 19th guy that's supposed to be the guy to take you over the top, then that guy's got to toe the line. Yeah, these are the way. Like, guys, in the normal business world, this is how normal companies are built. like this is who we are, and this is what we do.
I think you even go back to like one of our first episodes when we had DiPiero on and he talked about the atmosphere and the culture and picking guys and not taking guys in the draft because of certain dynamics with their character or whatnot and maybe picking guys lower or whatnot. To me, this is what Lou brings to the table. He brings culture, respect to the organization. They've been to the conference finals 2 years in a row, right? Who would have thought that? Okay.
You look at his teams. When he was in Jersey, perennial winners. Who was the superstars on those teams? Scott Niedermayer was a little bit of flashy from the back end. Yeah. Nobody was really – he went to the Leafs. Those were wasted years because they didn't let him do what he wanted to do. Now he goes to the Islanders and look at them. They're a team. Who's a superstar there? Barzal, hell of a player. So he's probably the best one they have there. But he knows the call. You get, like you guys said, Sandy said, you guys culture guys, toe the line. Everybody does their role. And they win.
You know what, guys? Just to bring it home to the 416, it is very Masai Ujiri-like. Look at the guys that he goes after in basketball. Pretty consistent, right? Tall, long, athletic guys. That's what he believes in. And he is the exact same way, man. He's like, these guys got to fit our culture or out. Back
to what Apple said. When I was in New Jersey, he would always give this the breakdown of how he wanted his teams built. And I may end up in a swamp somewhere in New Jersey because of this. One of Lou's guys going to come get me. This is a secret. He goes, there's A, B, and C, guys. you want your A guys to stay A guys, your B guys, and this I'm talking like attitude and all that stuff, like aside from skill and all that. You want your B guys to aspire and get to the A level, and your C guys to at least come to a B. You don't want any C's. And if you were, he'd ship you out.
There you go.
And that's why across the board, year after year after year, lose teams are the way they are. It's brilliant.
Love that stuff. Love that stuff, Berlin. Awesome. So there you go. You know, you can sleep tonight knowing that stuff because that's what happened in Jersey, right?
Oh, I knew all of this. The cameras in the hallways to the room, and the no shaving. Believe me, I cried when Lou came to Toronto because I can't stand the Leafs, and for him to come here, it just ruined me. But anyway, they ruined him. Thank God he got up off the mat.
There you go.
He's the best. To me, he'll be the best GM ever.
For sure. He's love his swagger about doing things.
He came to help a former player, and that former player wasn't smart enough to take the advice and ended up going out on his own, and it's going to cost them.
Right. Exactly. Yes. Yeah. So last topic. We'll keep this quick though. I find this really amusing because I can't wait for it. So John Tortorella, he's back in the broadcasting business. He has joined TNT. So the first game of TNT, gents, if you don't know this, is the Washington Capitals against the New York Rangers. And Torts will be doing that, you know, the pregame analyst and analyzing the game. And the reason why, this is how bad, you know, TNT and ESPN are going to be, especially TNT. I love Torts, but they are promoting the brawl that happened this season with the Rangers and the Caps. This is why they're opening up TNT that night. Okay. Now to add on top of that, the Rangers have gotten Ryan Reeves. And Ryan Reeves quoted last week when he got traded to the Rangers to Tom Wilson, now you're going to come into the real jungle. So what are your thoughts, guys, on Torts coming back to broadcasting? Berlin.
Well, now to know that's the opening game, I'm buckling up for it. It'll be fun. He's a colorful guy. You see some of the guys that they bring into the broadcast booth and as analysts, they're ho-hum. No one's going to want to watch, but I think someone like TNT needs that because they're not in that hockey niche. You know, NBC, ABC, Fox for that matter, ESPN, they're solidified as, you know, sports networks. Right. TNT, maybe get your bull riding and some of those offbeat sports, but I think a guy like John Tortorella puts him in the spotlight and gets him back on track. And it'll be fun. I'm sure he'll ease his way into the industry or that side of the game. Mm-hmm. But I think eventually he'll go back to like the way he was on the bench, just exploding on guys. Yeah. It'll be fun to watch.
Yeah. Santi.
I think he's going to be I think he'll be mellow in his older age. I think he'll provide value.
You think he'll toe the line?
I don't know. I think he's mellowed a lot maybe as he's gotten older because if you listen to him speak, he's really like self-reflective. Mm-hmm. And he's probably learned a lot as he's gone on, right? So I think he'll be fine. I think the bigger thing though is it proves in the States that hockey is still a regional sport, man. It's not a mainstream sport. No. And I think that's an important point for everybody to understand. Like hockey in the United States is still regional. It is not a mainstream sport that occupies what the three other leagues occupy. So
they're going to get maybe more viewers bull riding for the hockey, right? So, but
I think he still has the fire. I think he's pissed off that he didn't get another coaching gig. Yeah, I think he's going to be fired up, and I think TNT shot for the stars on this one just to try to get somebody that's got a little bit of character. Mm-hmm. I think he's going to get fired up on the telecast. He might say some things about some players that people might not like, but it might get them some viewers. People might tune in just for the entertainment value. Right. Like we tune in to listen to Per Maguire, where every player lives and played in junior and everything like that.
It'll be interesting to see, because I'm the complete opposite of you. So we'll see how he fares.
Yeah, Paul did hit the nail on the head though. because those three major sports, they do take up a lot of space.
Yeah.
And if they can have this guy that is like off the cuff, goes off the rails a bit,
Yeah.
it's something new for those viewers, that wouldn't otherwise watch hockey. It's like, hey, here's something novel.
It's just a fun. Yeah, he was on TSN. If you guys don't remember, he was on TSN. He was a panelist there, and he was pretty good. The interesting thing to see, though, is that you look at NBC, they got rid of Mike Milbury. The channel I was listening today, out of Pittsburgh again. It's Pittsburgh all the time, but they were saying Mike, and Ab just waves his hand, but Devil's Reek, by the way, for all the viewers. Anyways, that being said, the gentleman said they got rid of Mike Milbury, but they're bringing in another Mike Milbury. So it should be interesting to see. We'll see how it pans out. Guys, it was an awesome show tonight. Loved all the feedback. The Evander Kane saga will continue. Just want to do a shout out here to Side Launch Brewing Company in Collingwood. Santi's drinking it too there. Appreciate the free beverages. Again, great beer. Check them out. Side Launch Brewing Company in Collingwood. Please hit that subscribe button below. Please hit the like button if you like this episode tonight. Thank you to Paul, Brandon, Burlon, Apple, again in the lounge. We will see you soon. Stay safe. Keep on loving hockey. And remember, like Santi says, become a hockey purist. Good night, everyone.
Night, guys.